All right, so I am going to apologize in advance for my lack of visual stimulants. I chose to do my project over a third grader who is 8 years old, who has experienced a third-degree burn. I know during this stage in development, visuals, participation are very, very key in learning and also keeping the children's attention. So with that being said, I will go ahead and jump into kind of my explanation of what happened, so on and so forth, and how I would communicate to the children. Keep in mind that during this time, I would probably have a poster board of the hospital setting, as well as maybe a couple of pictures of the kid in the hospital, just to kind of relate to the children that this particular child is doing okay. They are able to still play, they're still able to move, they're still able to do a lot of the things that kids can do. It's just that he has experienced a traumatic burn. So, I'll begin. As I'm sure you guys know, your friend Johnny has suffered a severe burn to his left arm and hand. Have any of you guys ever been burnt before? I would wait for the kids to raise their hand, maybe give a couple of examples, and then at that point, I will go into explaining what happened. Johnny was cooking dinner with his mother. He was stirring the pasta and accidentally bumped the pot of boiling water over, and it spilled down his left arm and hand, leaving him severely burned. It was bad enough that he did have to go to the hospital, and he had to stay in the hospital for about a month to recover and to heal. You guys know that being burned can really hurt pretty bad. Johnny's working very hard to heal his burns, but he might look a little bit different when he comes back, and he may not be able to do everything that he could do before, or it might be a little bit more difficult for him. He has been working very, very hard to recover, and he's almost ready to come back. His burn went through all 3 layers of the skin. Can any of you guys name any of the layers of the skin? The outside layer is the first layer that got burnt. It's a layer of skin that you can see. It's the layer of skin that makes you waterproof. It's the layer of skin that gives you your skin color. It also protects you from when you fall down and scrape your knee, or you get a little cut or paper cut on your hand. Below that layer is another layer of skin that was hurt for him. It is where your hair starts growing and your sweat glands are. It's kind of tough tissue that holds everything together. And then below that is more tissue that is mostly made of fat. All 3 of these layers for Johnny were burned, and he has been extremely brave and extremely tough in healing and going through all of this. In the hospital, he has been required every day. We wrap his arms in dressing to prevent from any infection. It's like a Band-Aid that you would put on any scrape or cut that you get. At this point, I would also probably pull out some sort of dressing and pass it around to the class, maybe even let the kids apply dressing to themselves, just so they can kind of understand what it looks like, what it feels like, so that they know it doesn't hurt or anything like that, and it's actually meant to protect the child. Also, Johnny has been going through therapeutic play. He gets to play in the hospital, so this helps him. His arm right now, he has a lot of scars on his arm. Does anyone in the class have scars? So you know, when you get a scar or scab, it can be hard to move that area. Well, Johnny gets to actually play, and that helps him heal and helps with his movement of his arm and his hands. So at some point, he will be back to normal. He'll be able to move everything, it's just he will appear a little bit different. He'll have scars on his arms and hands. Have any of you ever had like a bad hair day or something that you were maybe embarrassed of? Can you give me an example of that? So, like I said, Johnny's going to be able to move everything, but he is going to look a little bit different, and he might be a little bit embarrassed. So it's very important that we pretend like it's not there. I mean, we know it's there. Johnny knows that it's there, but we can help him feel normal. We don't need to make fun of him or anything like that, because he's going to be able to move everything. He's just like we are. The good thing is Johnny gets to come back to school. He's still the same person that he's always been. He can still read, write, play, and do almost everything that you guys can. Johnny might miss a little bit of school. He will have to go to the doctor's every once in a while, so if he is missing, he's probably just at the doctor's office and he'll be back later, or he'll be back tomorrow. And then at this point in the presentation, I would go into my two activities that I created to develop empathy. The first of which would be passing out the picture of the picture that can be interpreted in two ways of the old lady and young lady, and I'd go through that routine. And then the next one, I would pull out the diagram or the doll with the scar on the arm and pass out Band-Aids to everybody. In addition to that, I would probably have a PowerPoint slide going during the presentation, just to kind of show the different tools, maybe some pictures of burns and things like that, just to kind of help the kids understand what's going on. And then I would open it up for questions and dialogue with the students to shoot ideas off of each other, and then I can come in and kind of spin things in a positive way if it gets off track at all. But during this point in time, I think it's important students really look for the opinions of others. They respect the opinions of others to help form their own opinions. And I think this would be a good tool to develop empathy as well. If you have a student who's maybe gone through something like that, or knows somebody who's gone through something like that, just so they can give a real life example of someone who's been burned and kind of the challenges and struggles that they faced. And then develop a plan together as a class to go over ways that we can help this particular child feel normal when they get back into class. So that would be my presentation. Again, sorry for the lack of visuals. I know that is important, but thank you, and I hope this hits the mark.